would probably have shared with someone, and maybe that someone didn't take it very seriously or didn't catch that sign. He could be just dropping a hint somewhere. He could be saying something that sounds a bit weird. But then again, your mom is also not going to be thinking, that warning sign is not going to come out, right? Because who would ever think that you are thinking of suicide? That's the last thing you're going to think about anyone on your mind, right? So I think it's really hard actually. What I get when I listen to people on the phone who are suicidal is that, okay, basically all of us have an ability to cope, right? It's like kind of like carrying a burden, right? If most of us can carry 10 kg. If you carry one bag, that's 10 kg, you can probably cope. You carry another bag, that's 20 kg, you can probably cope. But if I keep throwing bags on top of your bag, eventually your bag's just going to crack, no matter how strong you are, you see. Some people are quite lucky, they don't have that much burdens. I mean, in the sense, they come from a family that's very supportive, they don't go through that many challenges, and when they go through challenges, they know how to cope with it. Other people, they do not have such supportive network of family or friends, and then they happen to just be in a bad situation where they are thrown in with a whole bunch of bad things that just happen to them at one time. And they just have no idea to cope. And so suicide is actually, I mean, some psychologists say this, suicide is like a way of escape. Like, I've got all these bags on top of my back and I just can't carry them anymore. And I can't think of any other way except suicide. The statistics show, again, I hate to go on with numbers, but the statistics do show, not only from other countries, but from the Ministry of Health in our country, that within the next 20 years, suicide will be the third leading cause of death among the young generation in Malaysia. If you guys are hit so badly by this, then I mean, this is something that we all need to be concerned about. There's always a degree of ambivalence, meaning that sometimes you're thinking, I'm going to do it, and then the other time you're thinking, no, I shouldn't do it. I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it. But there will always be a period where there's this internal battle going on in their mind. Should I do it? 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 So that's always going on. Jumping off is probably quite common. Jumping from a high building, drinking poison, hanging themselves. You may be surprised, like some of those people who really like speeding on the highway, that's also probably a sign that they kind of want to end their lives here. Using the word commit sounds too harsh, it criminalizes them, it stigmatizes them. I personally don't think there should be such a law, and what I understand is that this law is basically a carryover from the British legal system that we used to have, because a lot of law that we have actually came from the British when they colonized us, so I think the law is still there. It should be made compulsory that they see a psychiatrist or psychologist. I think that should be made compulsory, right? But to actually throw them into jail, I don't see how that will deter them. When someone makes a decision for themselves, they will actually appreciate that that's the best decision. So our job is to actually help that person to reach a state of calmness where at least some of that load on their back is actually taken off, so that they're actually calm enough to come to that decision and say, okay, right now my life is in a mess and this is what I need to do to make my life better. It's a form of interaction called active listening. So this is like one of the foundational skills that most psychologists will need to have. It is not the only skill, but it's one of the foundational skills. I'm acknowledging that you're having that feeling, that emotion. I'm saying that it's okay for you to have that emotion. I'm not saying that, hiya, you shouldn't feel that way, you are a blah 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 blah, whatever, you shouldn't feel that. I'm saying it's okay for you to feel that way. It's okay for you to feel suicidal. It's okay for you to feel so angry with your parents you want to stab them 6 times in the back. It's okay. It's okay to have those feelings. And when people actually have that space to say like, oh, it's okay for me to feel that way, that actually brings a lot of relief and tension from the tension from that. I've had calls, I won't go too much into detail about a call because we're supposed to keep our caller details confidential. But I've had calls where people will talk about something very trivial, like having an argument with a friend. During the conversation, it will come out, a lot of other things will come out, okay? And then you will actually become aware that the caller is actually feeling quite suicidal. Sometimes things that sound very trivial to us, it can actually be a doorway to a lot of other bigger issues that are underlying. So if you can learn to listen to someone very carefully, you might be able to pick up on this, and you could be that person to make a difference in that person's life. I would say reach out to someone, at this time you might feel there's absolutely no hope and that no one cares, believe me, that out there there's someone that cares. Someone out there does care. Even a total stranger may actually care whether you live or die. So just reach out if you can. Okay? That's what I'll say.
But in fact, it's